Welcome everyone to our meeting this morning, and Jasmine, will you take the roll?
Marco,
Yeah?
Amy Bondadilli, Deidre Houston,
I'm here.
Tom LeCount,
Here.
Jan Bacone,
Here.
Brian Berrien.
Great. So we have a slightly less busy agenda than we've had previously, nevertheless quite a bit to get through. But first, are there any conflict of interest disclosures? None. And proof of meeting notice went out.
Yes.
No bills or communications to talk about. Approval of minutes. Let's take a look. No minutes because we're having a special minute meeting. Treasurer, likewise, you don't have
Right,
a report
because it
at
was
this
special
point
meeting.
because we're in the special meeting, and no committee reports, I don't think. So we'll go from unfinished business. There's nothing particularly to new business. The first is the consideration and approval of a preliminary resolution for the town centre developments LLC in the town of LaGrange. This is to induce a project providing a mortgage tax exemption, sales tax exemption, and a payment in lieu of taxes or pilot for an approximate $4 million project for construction and development of mixed-use residential and commercial building at 1189 Route 55 on approximately 1.19 acres. And I want to welcome the developer. Thank you. There we go. Joe Amendola in this morning.
Hi, how are you guys?
To you. And but I'm going to ask you to make a presentation quickly. Liz and Don, are there any setup comments that you'd like to make just at the outset?
No, so this is for a preliminary resolution. So it's just to authorize a public hearing to be held. We had the applicant here at the last meeting. There just wasn't a quorum, so there was a presentation made. And then the only other thing is a public hearing won't be scheduled until they have their seeker approval. So I don't know if you have an update on the status of.
Tomorrow we go in front of the town again, so it's in the process. It's been like a 2-year process, so I think it's getting close. I'm told it's getting close, but we'll see.
So floor is yours. Go ahead and tell us.
I'll just give you guys a quick recap of what I want to do. First, thanks for doing the special meeting. I really appreciate that. It's like I said before, it's been like a long road on this project, and any month is helpful because it just seems to be going into escrow or the money just goes. So I appreciate you guys squeezing this in, first of all. To give you guys a quick overview of the project, I'm born and raised in this area. I went to Arlington High School. I've heard about the LaGrange Town Center since I was a senior in high school in 2002. So I think they want to do this kind of type of project is what I've understood. And, in the Hudson Valley, you have like the Beacon area, you have Millbrook, little town strips, you have Rhinebeck up north. And I think the difference between those areas and LaGrange, ever since they did the roundabouts about 6 or 7 years ago, is they have houses everywhere. There's residents and, people walk, they use the sidewalks. It's feels like a nice place to go, have dinner and do different things like that. LaGrange doesn't have that. LaGrange is mostly just businesses. And I live on that little loop of Lauer in an old farmhouse. So I do use those sidewalks. My building I built right next to LaGrange Post Office on the one end of the roundabout. So I'm pretty much the only one ever on those sidewalks. I walk to work, I jog on those sidewalks, and you don't really see anybody. So I feel like this is a start to what they want to do with the LaGrange Town Center. And it's a hub where hopefully we'll have 14 or 15 apartments. So it'll be 3 floors. And then downstairs, we've already had, I'm not advertising anything because I don't want to put count my chickens before my, eggs are hatched. But even people just hearing about it, they want to rent it, and I do think it's going to be a nice space. You know, when you drive past Zoe's ice cream area, there's always people sitting outside hanging out. I kind of envision this building, you know, having like a pathway that connects Zoe's in the back. Parking is hidden by plantings, you know, arborvitaes, hydrangeas, birches. And it just really takes a nice spot that's kind of has a rundown building on it right now and makes it beautiful, really, and kind of bookends the three roundabouts and starts the development project, which I think Rieger is kind of back in action trying to do there too. So I think it fits everything the town wants. I live in the area. I think it's going to create construction jobs. I know it will create construction jobs. I personally have a construction company. I've been doing it since I was 20. I started with zero. I manage large projects, and they're almost always on budget, and they're almost always on time for that, considering that industry. So that's the project, and any questions? I'm ready to answer.
Very good. So, so this is as you say, a preliminary inducement, and just making the point about our business, you know, the mission for which we're founded here, which is to induce economic activity for the benefit of the community, for the county, and this feels just like that sort of task in front of us, if it's appropriate. That's in general where we are, what our objective is. So I think if there's a motion, would you like to make a motion?
Certainly I can make a motion, as this is a preliminary resolution to move this forward for the public hearing. Is that the resolution we make, just to move it to the public hearing? Yeah, I will certainly make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Darren Capone.
Approved. Approved.
Deidre House.
Approve.
Mark Doyle.
Approved. Thank you. Good luck with your.
And do you want to mention the process going forward? Hearing would be
I was just gonna say,
approximately.
if you just keep us posted or have your council keep us posted about the status of the seeker approvals, then as soon as we're good on that, we'll move forward with scheduling the public hearing to be held on this in public.
All right, that sounds good, guys. I really appreciate it again, squeezing this in, because like I said, it's like a lot of waiting. So thank you so much. We're all set?
Good luck.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right. I don't know if we have,
Deidre's up.
they're out there. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So let me just introduce this. So we are talking about the consideration and approval of a preliminary resolution for Bill Parcel 7 LLC in the town of Poughkeepsie. And this is to induce a project providing for mortgage tax exemption, sales tax exemption, and payment in lieu of taxes for an approximately $8.5 million project for construction of a multifamily housing facility with affordable and market rate units consisting of 20 residential units at 44 Springside Avenue on approximately 1.95 acres. So there are some details to figure out. Maybe you could just lay out the built parcels components and so on and keep us on the straight and narrow here.
So I had sent the board yesterday, and I also printed out copies here, just some of the background on the Van Wagner project overall, since some of the board members here were not on the board at the time those original approvals were made back in 2014. So, and I'm sure Mr. Tinkleman can speak to some of the project as a whole, but I just wanted to outline the original project where there were these two entities, built parcel 3 and built parcel 4. That closed with the IDA back in 2015. All of these are related entities where Mr. Tinkleman is the managing member of them. So even though there's different entities with different names, it's all controlled by the same person. So there were amendments back in 2021 to expand the scope of the project, and they requested additional sales and mortgage recording tax benefits for that. And then most recently, earlier this year, the board approved an assignment to bring in another related entity, built parcel 7. Originally, we thought we were going to be closing on that, and down the road, the applicant would be coming back for this expansion. But I think the timing ended up happening closer than we anticipated. So now we're just holding off on that transfer from built parcel 4 to built parcel 7 while this application is being considered. So now this is additional construction that wasn't originally contemplated at the time of the 2014, 2015 approvals. And so they're looking for new benefits for that. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Tinkleman for
Further
this project.
explanation, absolutely, thank you. And again, welcome to the meeting. I look forward to hearing. We have some nice, I don't know if everybody, we would like to pass that. Maybe you got one copy there? Okay, but please go ahead.
Thank you. First, I want to thank you all, both past boards and current boards, because without this program, this effort, the Van Wagner Place neighborhood wouldn't have been possible. This is essentially the 5th phase, but the 4th phase working with the IDA in creating what is becoming a neighborhood. And with this effort, we'll have created about 80 apartment units and about 50,000 square feet of commercial space. The housing units themselves run into new construction, into our adaptively reusing existing structures. They're in different price points as well. I think the latest building that you may have seen is a 5-story structure across from the church on the highway, and that has commercial on the first floor and 28 apartments on the upper floors. The process has taken longer, and I'm really glad to have gotten some of your summaries, Liz, because you forget about the dates and how much time has gone by. But I actually think that what we do here becomes more important to the success of Dutchess County, in that projects are harder to do right now. The cost of money, the cost of construction, the volatility in construction. So thank you for all that you're doing. This project here, which is our 4th project with you, is a 20-unit, 4-story structure. It's a little smaller than what we've done before. Again, we've tried to do smaller projects and as a whole to create this neighborhood. And all the buildings are essentially different, from each other, but they all have some of the DNA of what exists in the neighborhood when we first got started. The package, I think, shows some of the older buildings that were really in poor shape. I think I haven't seen the package, but yes. So, yeah, thank you. So you can begin to see how we took a derelict neighborhood and really created something here that we're really quite proud of, and that people are enjoying being here. Some of the things that we also have tried to do is, as part of our company's mission, is to work with not-for-profits, and make it easier for them to function and operate. And so we have 5 or 6 such organizations that are hopefully successfully working in the neighborhood and have been there quite a bit. We also are, working with, some of the structures there, so it's both new and existing. But part of, sorry for losing my voice here, part of the success has also been our ability to work closely with the town of Poughkeepsie. And we've had really positive dialogue throughout the last 10 or so years. One is they're encouraging just the whole master planning of what we've done here. And in this last version, which is the Westerly, we work closely with Rebecca Edwards, who's the supervisor, in kind of programming and planning this project. Part of what was wonderful about that is when we first started talking to her, she wasn't either clear or a proponent on the value of pilots. And through the conversation, she began to understand how the benefit here has made the original projects possible. And secondly, she was also contemplating, the pilot is helping you. How can you also help the town? And how cool is that you have that kind of conversation with, politicians here? So through sitting down and understanding what some of her goals and motivations are as town supervisor, from the jump, we worked on creating 10% affordable housing, which is part of this project. And you can see that in the pro forma. It's a significant impact on the cash flow. And, so the idea of working that through in the beginning, was really helpful in trying to make the whole pro forma work. And so the benefit of that conversation also has led to a whole slew of other things that we've been able to do currently through one of our related businesses, which is the British Swim School that operates in the new building. We've just worked out an agreement with the town of Poughkeepsie to provide swim lessons and exercise programs for seniors in the pool on Fridays. And that comes about through dialogue and conversation, with the community. And so it also invigorates the neighborhood, which, unfortunately COVID slowed things down, thus some of the gap that you see and how we got to, where we are today. So the other part of the workforce program here, the 10%, is an arrangement with Hudson River Housing. So they got involved in the conversation. The other part of the commitment is that all of the unit design is the same. So you're not pointing to a unit and saying, these are people that don't make the same amount of money or what have you. And so it's I think that's an important component to the success of what we're trying to do here. We worked with the town, and again, I really think that it's an amazing part of how complicated it is to do anything today. That kind of leadership, also moved the project along. And so ultimately we got a vote for the pilot from the town because we had been working together on so many different components. Last one might have been just some of the neighborhood things that we've been able to create. That we have a town square or neighborhood square that was part of the last project. We put new sidewalks in to make it walkable. We've created new on-site parking, street lights, all kinds of things to make it feel and act and function like a neighborhood. So, we got unanimous votes from the planning board. The town board voted unanimously for endorsing the pilot. And so that's why I'm here.
Excellent.
I hope that was a helpful presentation.
Yes, so that we have the municipal support for the pilot on this specific project, and clearly your prior work in that community is a key component to that. I think that one of the critical questions, and I'm actually looking for that on our evaluation, is to sort of essentially coming out of the pro forma and summarizing it is were it not for the exemptions and benefits of that we can offer would you do this project?
So the question is also complicated in that, the answer is no. And the other part is if you look at the pro forma, the rate of return on it, is marginal, off the jump. And it really requires, proactive management. We have a really good management structure so that you can keep your costs in line, that you can be efficient in turning over apartments as normally is the case. But if you look at the pro forma, that return is also, doesn't also talk about risk. And the risk here is the cost of building. And in the 44 Springside 5-story building, the cost overruns on that project were significant. So that even what we showed you in that pro forma, our rents may have been a little bit better, but the construction costs were, elevated, as I mentioned. The other thing that I think that what we've done here is a pretty comprehensive income and expense, because we've done this so that it plays it out 10 years and stuff. But the world is really, there's some extraordinary shifts going on. And one is a conversation I had just yesterday with Marshall and Sterling that's doing, that is our insurance vendor. And the policy on the 44 Springside building doubled from last year, right? And you're thinking, how is that possible? The building, the building is, you have all the life safety issues that are required, both here, because it uses the codes for the whole country. It's a really, a safe building, right? And we've had no issues, and for it to have doubled, right? And so you're constantly being pressured on it. And so now, so to your question is the pro forma shows an acceptable return, but you really have to work hard on it, and there's still exposure. So we are thankful that this program exists, because it makes it, without it, if you saw what the return then does, and I can show you that, at the next meeting, you'd see how important your benefit is.
Thank you. Because I think that the components of the investment decision are pretty critical for us all to understand relative to our job, which is to induce economic activity. So that's a really useful discussion. I appreciate that. Jamie, if you got anything to add there?
No, it's just, was there a lot line adjustment on this between the other built parcels? Did we discuss before or no?
So there have been lot line adjustments over time.
Okay.
But if you look at the map that I had circulated where it shows in
Yeah, that's the one I have,
red
right.
the other phases of the project.
That's in this.
And then the two that are outlined in black are the ones that are
That's the one under
this
the,
application.
right.
Second to last page.
And the smaller lot is not covered by any existing agreement. So that's the,
Smaller lot, this is number 4?
Number 4.
right.
Okay,
And then the larger lot was part of the built parcel 4 earlier project. And you'll see there's a structure on that lot, 45 Springside. That is not part of the request as far as the pilot goes. It'll be carved out of the pilot and kept under the old pilot schedule that it's already under.
right.
And then any of the new construction on that lot for the westerly would be part of the new pilot that's being requested. And that,
So there's benefits on lot number 4. That's 45. So that was one previous one.
And
no, lot number 4 is not under any existing.
Okay, all right.
That's being added to the project.
Okay.
And then,
What is under, I mean, I see the lot for the westerly, but which is the other one that you said was originally, is under benefit?
so if you look, well, lot number 3,
Right.
that's where 45 Springside is. So you'll see the structure that's on there already.
Oh, right at the road.
so
Okay.
is this in the other document package indicates first a dwelling unit above first floor commercial. That, I think, is the one that we're talking about here. This is page, numbered.
Yeah, that's on the big packet.
Yeah.
How this came about is we had this 45 Springside, which was part of the approval for Hilltop and Center House.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is Hilltop and Center House. So this parcel, has the residential above the commercial on it. Where the new westerly building is a wooded site with no access to it. And you thought, well, and it's really a pretty area up there. And so it came about that 43 Springside was for sale. And when we studied it, we realized we could create this driveway to access that part of the site. So it then became a productive part of the neighborhood, which we didn't see before. We didn't realize that it was a possibility. So thus we bought 43 and then created this whole project. So, as the question was to Liz, was that this has a benefit. This is not being part of it. And, we'll create the legal structure, for the financing of the new building and such. It could be that we're still talking to the town about changing some zoning here, just to make, in the neighborhood so that everything is Arlington Town Center, which is what the bulk of the neighborhood is right now, but that's the plan.
So, sorry, before you sit down. So the 43 Springside, because the arrows don't quite, there's no line from the 43 exactly. It's a triangular parcel with the driveway in it. And the building that is already covered is the small building at the bottom there. And the new building is arrowed by 45 Springs. So, yeah, exactly. That's the new Westerly building.
Yeah, there's
Just
been
to
discussion
clarify.
about changing addresses again, just to mess up.
Appreciate it. That's a good way to start today.
One other thing I'd like to mention here, which is one of the most amazing parts about the process, is that so much is so complicated because of politics and stuff. But we have 3 houses in front of us. And in order to make this project work with the lot line, we ended up having to work with the neighbors to deal with some of the construction issues and getting utilities and such back there. And they were so helpful and productive and in the process, and didn't want anything, didn't ask for anything. And we offered to landscape and such, and they showed up at the planning board meeting and said something that I've never heard in my entire career, which was, we don't want to see landscaping here because we think the building's great looking and we want to see the building. The planning board couldn't believe it. But anyway, as part of the spirit of the whole neighborhood, they were really, seminal part. And also there's a co-op community behind here, North Grand, and they also, they had some site issues and drainage issues that we were able to solve. And they also then, they said, well, do you have anything we can do for you? And we said, we could use a little bit of help during construction to be able to work back there. And they were great with that. So it was amazing, the spirit of the neighborhood. The only other request is they wanted a wine bar. Pathway to get there, and I haven't been able to figure that out yet.
Good. Tom, do you have?
I did have a one question. The section that's not under, I just want to make sure I understand. 43 Springside is not under right. That's not covered under anything right now?
Correct.
Correct, okay.
And that one is one where there's an existing structure and the plan is to just refurbish it the way that they did with other residential buildings.
Okay.
That's correct, yeah. We've taken 4 or 5 derelict houses in the neighborhood and fixed them up, and didn't change the use and such, and they're fully occupied now. And there was one structure in the package that is where an engineering firm is right here. And, it's one of those things that when you look at it, it would have been easier to to take it away and take a helicopter and bring another building in there, but we fixed it up and, so we can say it's still the original structure there, but I think that's part of the charm of the neighborhood is you got old and new.
Is 43 occupied now?
Yes, it is, yeah.
And the other, you said the other houses are occupied currently also. You said that the neighbors, okay.
Yes, yeah.
So perhaps said a slightly different way, you're investing in the neighborhood in this 43 package without any incentivization. Is that
Well, 43 is part of the package.
43?
Yeah, so that.
Well, I thought you just said
So
It's on the parcel.
it's on the,
It's on a separate parcel, but
it's part of Bill Parcel 7.
yes, yes. that's right.
It's part of this new request.
7, oh, okay.
As opposed to the other lots here, which are part of existing agreements, including the 1.5 acre lot.
Okay.
So the 1.5 acre lot already has a pilot on it,
Yeah,
and then this new lot is being added.
thank you.
One other point, if you don't mind me. The other thing that, and I'd love to give a tour if anyone's interested, but one of the other things that you can begin to see by all the work that's gone here are that some of the neighboring properties are now being updated and repurposed and stuff. And a good example is our office is in this building here, which there's some pictures in there that was, it was one of those amazing things that it was an old electrician's warehouse, and it was kind of, in the picture I think you can see that they had it was fenced in and all their spools and wire, and it was their exterior storage area. And I brought a couple of women there who ran businesses and tried to pitch them on the neighborhood, and they all moved in. And you're thinking, how did that happen? It was part of the spirit of it, but Duchess Overhead Doors is around here, and sorry, the building's not on the map, but they're just going through a fix-up of their whole campus and stuff. So, and I think that's part of the spirit of what's going on. A couple of the other neighbors up sites have fixed up their properties in the last year as well.
Okay, good. Thanks for clarifying again for me. Deirdre.
Just a question on the employment impact. Obviously, I understand the temporary construction employment. Can you talk about the permanent operational impact for direct and indirect jobs with a total effect of 12? You said 8. You said that there's 8 direct jobs. Can you talk about those?
I don't recall the 8.
It's the employment impact on Dutchess County, in Dutchess County.
Let's see. Do you have the page in the application?
I have it on our review, on our in-house review pack.
Evaluation.
Yes. It says that the number of existing FTE jobs we retained is 2,
Yeah.
but then when you look at the impact in Dutchess County, there's direct impact, and it was 8 for operations, and I just didn't understand how we were getting to that number.
Yeah, I don't recall that number. We were talking about 2 for this project, and there's more than that because we hire landscapers and cleaners and snow people and.
The report.
That's the cost, I think it's the cost benefit analysis
Yeah.
that's done,
Oh, that was.
on our, Peter and Sarah.
This one that would have been outsourced to Des
Yeah, but
Using the data, they have.
they do, well, we do a cost benefit analysis.
No, and I read that.
And you populate it.
Right.
Apparently, that's what came.
And I read that, but I don't recall, and that, again, I'm fairly new to the board, but I don't recall in other analysis that we have used that report for direct impact employment numbers.
I think that's interesting you asked that because it came up in our Jackson application, because Des Moines got involved with that. And I guess based on the number of units, they talk about the people that will come and live here that don't live here now, and that those are the jobs, I think.
Right, I think, I would say, in my mind, a direct impact is directly working for the build.
Yeah, so you could see a higher number on the indirect because of the multiplier effect.
Sure, but the
direct
direct,
should apply directly to this.
Well, the direct is up top, the committed FTEs.
Yeah, and so it's
That's-
just, makes,
That's what we normally look at.
yeah.
Yeah, but the 8 is,
That two-page
subs.
evaluation form. Who prepares that form?
I think Peter did on that.
I'm just in the past, I don't think we've used those.
no, I always go up to the.
Right, but I think if you look at a past analysis, this number is also found here.
Good, Jim. Point that out. We got.
So you're retaining 2 FTEs, you're not starting 2 new jobs. This is not gonna create jobs, this is retaining jobs.
It'll likely create new jobs. The company changes based upon how it gets bigger. And so the maintenance staff will probably increase. I'm not sure, right now, just because the plan isn't clear, we used half and half and half to get to the 2. But it'll create 2 new positions for sure, just because of the way you operate. And it'll be a combination of our accounting staff and how that works, or our marketing staff, show the apartments. It could be through the people that are the porters at the building, and the maintenance staff itself, the direct people that come and take care of all the repair and maintenance requirements.
So there is, just go through this slowly here, there's a little confusion because under employment impact in our evaluation, board evaluation, the title is committed total FTE jobs 2. The first line under that is the number of existing FTE jobs to be retained is 2. The total number of new FTE jobs to be created is 0 over the next 2 years in this form. And then the annualized salary ranges, 50 to 75, estimated hourly wages. Total number of construction jobs to be created is 90, which is starred. That stars, so that figure is based on the MRB cost benefit calculator. So at least in our format, on our valuation, we're saying that we're going to retain the existing 2 jobs and not create any from this project. So this may be an internal issue, but we just need to clarify that's what we're actually looking at here on our evaluation.
Yeah, we'll have to follow up with our consultant on it. I agree. I think it's the 2 is what they'll be evaluated more moving
Right.
forward. We're on compliance, and I do believe the 8 it says operations is probably based on the report that was done. Going to include FTEs related to the maintenance of this facility. So we'll have to get clarity from our consultant.
Right. So, this is an initial motion, so I think we can go forward with some clarification needed on the line. Thank you for.
I have a question about the construction jobs. On the built parcels that are already completed. Any idea of how many prevailing wage construction jobs were created by those? And
I would have to get back to you because I don't want to be flippant with a number.
how many might be created by this? You say 90 construction jobs, but if they're from $27 to $41, they're below prevailing wage construction jobs. So is there any that are prevailing wage created?
They will be, it's an open shop job, so usually you get more of.
It's not guaranteed though. Open shop doesn't mean there's guaranteed prevailing wage jobs. It means it's a possibility, but do you have any idea how many are?
We haven't gotten into the construction of it yet. I could go back and give you a history of what we have done in the past. so
That would be helpful.
So you can be comfortable with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, thank you.
Because this falls under it's not under the workforce. It's
Right.
less than 10 million.
Yeah,
The whole, I think to your point is I don't know yet, but you're finding that the labor markets are different. So the idea of, working with union electricians or, things like that, is not uncommon.
well, there are a lot of non-union contractors that pay higher than prevailing wage.
Well, that's
So
true, too.
it's, I just curious to see what kind of mix you have on a project like this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's also not a requirement, so.
Right, it's
board's
not.
interested in creating a policy of that, that's something that they're gonna have to discuss. Also, I'm assuming these estimates are based on other projects?
Yes.
And so your real construction cost and wages have not come in clearly?
We haven't
So,
done the job yet,
your numbers could come in all over the place.
Likely will.
Okay, good. So, cleared up the parcels, we've cleared up, or not cleared up, but at least opened up, for further clarification, the labor, with questions. Are there any more questions? On it, Jamie?
Nope.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion, to, let's see, a motion for approval for a preliminary resolution to induce this project, the build parcel 7.
I'll make a motion for the preliminary resolution for built parcel 7.
I'll second the motion. Resolution.
You take the roll, Jasmine.
Jamie Picone,
Approve.
Tom LaCount,
Approve.
Deidre House,
Approve.
Mark Doyle.
Approved. Excellent.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Part of what I like to do, and Ron Dix will probably make my this forever, but you kind of like to leave with an anecdote. And you might wonder about where Bill Parcel came from. But it was an old football joke. There was a football coach named Bill Parcells, and he was the Jet coach. And being a Jet fan from my father, you kind of played with the words of it, and the goal was to buy these properties, to fix them up, and that's where the Bill Parcel came from. So now there's 7 of them, but you quit right after that. But once you'd set up the first 2 Bill Parcels, you were stuck and kept going with it. Thanks for letting me share that.
Thank you.
Just watch Johnny fans.
Yeah.
I saw Ron gritting his teeth. Thank you, Tinkleman. All right, so Jasmine. No, I'm going to, I thought you had something else. We are not going to consider item C on the agenda, which is the discussion for the final authorization of the resolution of Jackson Crossing project. That is also a project by headed by Mr. Tinkleman. There appears to be further work to do, and so he has requested that be postponed to another time, the time established at this point that I know of. That's correct, he hasn't set up a date for further discussion. So we will see. Is there any other business? Ron, would you like to?
I have 2 things. In the end of 2024, the governor signed legislation for the IDAs to consider childcare in applications. And I have reached out to a number of other IDAs as well as state organizations and even the governor's office to get clarity on who's promulgating these rules and what exactly is the expectation of the IDAs on this, since they did sign this bill. I've really not gotten anything solid. So I've drafted some of my own, which would just include some questions within the application and on the review document for your consideration at the next meeting. So I'll be presenting that to you guys. The second is, and this comes.
Sorry, can you just develop that a little bit? So basically we would be asking whether the developer would include facilities and staffing to enable childcare in that project?
Not that specific. I'll be taking out of the bill what was signed and trying to massage that into a question. And that could be, because it's so open, it could be facilities, which I think is a bad, I don't think that was the intent. But it could also be how the project impacts childcare in the future. So does the applicant, if it's a semiconductor plant, not necessarily have a childcare center in their facility, but perhaps they provide a childcare subsidy. Perhaps a housing project provides affordable units or workforce units for childcare workers in partnership. So it could be, it appears to be very broad at this time. I've always been concerned about legislation or the intent of legislators when they are trying to regulate public authorities, and I'd much rather get ahead of them and come up with something that I think meets the spirit of the law, and not let others define it. So I'm going to come up with something based on my research and present it to you guys for consideration. Whatever it is will be very simple in the application and the evaluation form. The second thing that just came up today because of your question on here. Just wondering, should we take a good look at this and make sure that everyone understands the questions and the sections here and what they actually mean? And I'm happy to take this back to our consultant and anyone else I need to in order to ensure that we have clarity on this and can have these answers immediately when asked.
I think so. And in fact, I brought up the question of whether the project would proceed with or without our funding or our inducement. That I thought that was on it previously. Then
that but for is in statute,
yeah,
and I believe it's on the application.
It's on the application, but maybe it's the only place it needs to be done. But
Fair.
I feel like it could easily be on this. It's such an important question.
Great. That was all I had.
Right. Thank you. Oh, you were about, is that really, because you just said reviewing this document was the second item of fact?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right, well then, we should adjourn.